The James Show Podcast.
This discussion on AI and robots, because AI can do a whole lot of our mental economy, and robots are going to do a whole lot of our physical economy. And these two technologies are coming online at the same time. And of course, they're going to be combined. And in the meantime, it's going to be a weird transition. It was a weird transition when we went from horses to cars. In fact, it was kind of unimaginable. How would we get rid of horses? Why would we get rid of horses? Do you mean to tell me through 10,000 years of recorded human history, using horses as our primary source of transportation is now just suddenly going to change? It's huge. It's huge what is happening. The difference in just the next couple of generations' lifestyle compared to what our grandparents had, they're not even going to be able to recognize each other. But a lot of this is coming to the forefront because there's a whole bunch of points on this star that are sort of coming together. And I see way too much negativity about robots and AI. They're going to take our jobs. Stop. Here's Elon Musk this week.
But AI and humanoid robots will actually eliminate poverty. And Tesla won't be the only one that makes them. I think Tesla will pioneer this, but there will be many other companies that make humanoid robots. But there is only basically one way to make everyone wealthy, and that is AI and robotics.
So the scary part is for the people whose job is going to be replaced because they can't see what they're going to do next. But when this country was founded, 98% of its citizens were involved in agriculture. Why? Because that's how many it took to feed us, right? And once we got more productive in that, and it didn't take so many people to feed us, that actually freed these people up to invent other industries and things that we didn't even think about before that. And it's got to the point now to where, all the people that used to take care of horses, some of them transitioned into being mechanics or putting together cars. And so they've sort of followed the transportation assistance route. But a lot of these people have been freed up to go do other things. And for every time that an innovation like this happens, for every time it becomes cheaper to pick carrots, that means for everyone buying carrots, they're going to have a little bit more disposable income. And they're going to be able to buy luxuries or advancements that they were previously unavailable. Whole new markets are going to spring up. So you go through the agricultural revolution, you go through the industrial revolution, you go through the information revolution. Now we're going through the space revolution, AI revolution, robotics revolution. We're already to the point now to where the average person among us has a $70 luxury high-tech pillow. You understand how amazing that would sound to your great-grandfather? We have this guy, Mike Lindell. He made millions and millions of dollars selling high-tech luxury pillows. Oh, were they really cheap? Actually, no. They're the most expensive pillow I think I've ever bought. But it's a damn nice pillow. I sleep on it better than regular pillows. It's fantastic. This is not the technology and the luxury that is afforded only to kings and queens. This is, you know how many My Pillows that dude has sold? We have luxury pillows. You ungrateful punks. And I'm tired of hearing, you may have said this yourself, I hope you haven't, and let me change your mind if you have. I'm tired of hearing this is going to be the first generation that doesn't do better than its parents. Stop it. You're going to do better. Look, I have kids. My kids are already going to do better than me. You know why? Because when I was growing up, we had 4 channels. You understand what kind of caveman, savage existence we had growing up? I grew up, cell phones got big when I was in high school. And I didn't really get one until I was about 24 because I was at the bottom end of the socioeconomic ladder. But my kids have cell phones growing up. And it's not just that they can call. It's that they can ask that thing anything you want. Remember when we were kids, we used to get into fights over someone said, Tom Petty's from Georgia. No, Tom Petty's from Florida. You take that back. I know because I saw him in an interview. I read in Rolling Stone once, and then there's a big fight breaks out. Now you can just ask your phone. Do you remember that? You remember arguing with people? I bet you, I dare you, a double dog dare. You don't know what you're talking about. You're an idiot. But our lives are already better for our kids because we had, what did you and I have? We had Saturday morning cartoons. That means if we didn't have anything else scheduled and our parents didn't have anything else scheduled and they weren't already watching something in the only TV that wasn't occupied, we could get about 3 hours of cartoons with commercials and all that entails. But our kids now, our kids, all children born from here on out, they can watch cartoons 24 hours a day, 7 days a week. No commercials. They started at the beginning of the episode. They can pause at any time if they need to go get a drink or go to the bathroom or come back days later and they'll pick up right where they left off. Oh, no. Life is fantastic. AI and robots are only going to make it better. there's a case to be made where on this show right here, in this platform, I may be replaced by an AI robot. Because look, I can remember a whole lot of stuff, but not as good as AI. You could call in an AI talk show host and ask him anything. Like, hey, what was the original apportionment amount for the representatives, House of Representatives in the Constitution? He would say 30,000. He would just know. He would know all that. So am I worried about losing my job? No. I think I'm going to, if that's going to happen, I'm going to be the guy that develops the most awesome AI radio host ever. Don't be scared of progress. Don't be scared of new technology. And don't let these people give you any sort of anxiety. We're about to enter the golden age of mutual cooperation between humans, AI, and robots. Now, make no mistake, on a long enough time scale, this is not going to work out for us. There will be a robot revolution. They will win, and we will be replaced as the apex predators on Earth. But it was a good run while it lasted. All right. I mean, I'm half having fun with you. I'm half being dead serious. Coming up next, we're going to talk with Coley Stimson from the Heritage Foundation. I guess the Department of Justice now has 30 days to release the files, but people are coming up with excuses on why we may not get them, and other people are making the very valid prediction that it may be so redacted it doesn't matter. I just want to know, Coley, is anyone going to go to jail?
I think if they were going to go to jail, we would see ongoing prosecutions or grand juries being impaneled. Now, the AG did say that there's newly discovered evidence. I don't know what that would be. So I think it's, at least at this point, I don't think anyone's going to be prosecuted, much less go to jail. You never know, though, because once they release those documents with appropriate redactions, and of course, we do want redactions. I mean, there are victims in there who may not have consented to their names being released. We have to be mindful of that. But I think it's too early to tell whether there's going to be any prosecutions, much less people being sent to prison.
Yeah, and I realize there's not like an actual, tangible list. It's just a collection of all the data points from all the investigations and court cases and whatnot. And right. one of the concerns is the video, because if it has minor children in there, we can't release that to the public. We can't just be putting kiddie stuff out there. So how far do you think the redactions are going to go? Look,
I think, first off, it's amazing we're even talking about this today. The Democrats orchestrated a shutdown of the government for 40 plus days. We have a resilient economy where the jobs report comes out with 119,000 new jobs, most of which were not government jobs. In fact, very few were. We have an employment rate which is below 5%. It's at 4.4%, which is considered full employment. And yet here we are talking about a convicted pervert who had a sex island, and a lot of high and mighty people went down there for reasons other than raping young people or girls. And yet here we are, I don't know how many years later, and we're talking about this. It's purely prurient interest now by all of us. We're part of it because we're talking about it. There's so many more important things that are happening in the world, but I think we're going to have to be on this topic for a while because, of course, what's really going to happen is the people who know they went to that island, the people who know they were engaged in bad conduct, which is a small subset of the people who went to the island, they're going to hope that their names don't pop up on these documents. So that's what's really happening here.
Well, my interest in this story is about a 3 out of 10 if we're not going to get names and people aren't going to go to jail. If we are going to get names and people are going to go to jail, then it's a 10 out of 10. So it really depends on what we get out of this. All right, Coley Stimson, when we talk about the Epstein list controversy, not the most important thing in the world, you were kind of going over to some of that economic talk. And what's the rest of the world missing today? Because I feel like these should be bigger headlines too.
Yeah, I mean, I think the big topics are, if you set aside the prurient, Epstein disaster, is despite the Democrats' shutdown of the federal government for 43 days to get nothing, the jobs report showed 119,000 new non-farm payroll jobs added to the economy. The inflation rate stays at around, the unemployment rate stays at about 4.4%, which full employment's at 5%. And so the economy is resilient. And I think, when you see more people more foreign leaders coming to the White House. The UN Security Council passes the Gaza resolution. You see, foreign military sales going to Saudi Arabia. Now it's about 7 years in the making to sell F-35, so they're not going to get them tomorrow. It's going to take a while. These are signs that this administration is fully engaged. When you see, for example, that in the spring there's going to be a sort of the first in decades drug policy roundtable with all the leaders from Central and South America, orchestrated by this government in Florida at the Doral Club, to talk about how we can have all of the above approach to go after the drug traffickers that are destabilizing our hemisphere. This administration is fully engaged. Now, what are people going to talk about at Thanksgiving? What they always talk about Thanksgiving. If they keep politics and religion out of it, pocketbook issues. Do I have a job? Do my kids in college, do they have a job prospects? So it's what's happening to them in their financial situation, and whether their kids can get jobs or have high-paying enough jobs so they can get off the payroll and be productive members of society. So I think that those are the big things that are out there.
Love it. Thank you very much. This is Coley Simpson from the Heritage Foundation. I appreciate you being on the James Show, sir.
Thanks for having me.
Okay, coming up next on the James Show, we have Mamdani out there. And look, he's talking about New York, but this is the mainstream of thought now of the people who are in control of the Democrat Party and in their voting base, basically. This is what the Bernie Sanders say. This is what the AOC says. It's going to be coming from Mamdani in the next segment. But he's talking about a bunch of freebies, free buses, free childcare, and we're just going to jack up taxes on other people. Hear it next on the James Show. News Talk 820, 93.3 FM, WBAP. Hello, homeowners in North Texas. James Parker here for Rhino Shield. And if your house is looking old, if your house is looking all busted, don't slap paint on it. We don't do that anymore. And you may think, well, James, I have a brick house, so I wasn't going to repaint anyway. Or I have stucco or one of those cool-looking Adobe houses with texture on it. Rhino Shield sticks to that. It sticks to everything. The metal, the stucco, the brick, the wood, hardy board. Rhino Shield is a space-age technology that's 8 to 10 times thicker than paint, but it'll still keep the texture. If you have some cool Adobe texture under, the brickwork or whatever, you'll still have that cool texture, but it'll perform better than paint. It has an insulative factor. It blocks 90% of UV rays. The important thing, though, is it expands when the house gets hot. It contracts when the weather gets cold, so it breathes with your home. That's why you're not going to find the cracking, the peeling, the flaking. So it'll increase your home's resale value. Comes with a 25-year transferable warranty. And if you mention the James Show, you get 20% off now through the holidays. So give yourself a little Christmas present. Give your house a Christmas present, and don't paint your house. Coat your home. It's so good, the bank will give you a loan on paint, and you don't have to pay for the whole thing up front. You can just pay $150, $160 a month, and your home will look amazing. Go to rhinoshieldDFW.com. Now, you and I, we don't live in New York City. Probably never going to go to New York City, or at least
New York City!
Not in the next 4 years or so. I mean, some of you might go, but for the most part. The interesting part about watching Mamdani from this far away is he gives us some great textbook examples. Something to watch that we can have a bunch of people suffer for implementing bad ideas. And we're left unscathed over here 20 states away. But I want people to pay attention. I don't want to have to repeat these same failed policies. Because remember, Mamdani, he's a socialist. Now, he says he's something different. I'm not a socialist. I'm a Democrat socialist. Oh, okay.
I am a Democratic socialist.
All right. So economically speaking, you're the flat earthers of economics, socialist. And I want you to, whenever we talk about New York, think about Dallas. Think about Plano. Think about Irving. Think about all the cities around here. And now we have some of the same problems. And you can learn what to do and what not to do. For one thing, the mindset of a socialist is still the same. Democrat socialist or a regular socialist. He sees a government solution for every problem.
We will prove that there is no problem too large for government to solve and no concern too small for it to care about.
Yikes. Okay. So that explains why when there's hungry people, they're like, well, there should be a government program for hungry people. When there's people who are homeless or living in squalid conditions, there should be a government program for housing. When they see people who have trouble getting from point A to point B or they can't afford a car, well, we should have public transportation. When you see people who can't afford daycare, well, we should have public daycare. That's the mindset. That's where this comes from. So let's focus on an interview that he just did this week where he talks about, for public transportation, how about we just make it free? And you know what? Childcare, how about we just make that free too?
The other two, as you referred to, is making buses fast and free and delivering universal childcare. And just this past week, I had a great meeting with the governor where we spoke about our shared focus on affordability agenda and on universal childcare particularly. And this is something that will take a period of time. These are all promises that I intend to keep over the time that I am mayor. And I also know that what they had the potential to do is transform New Yorkers' ability to live in the city. I mean, parents have to spend $22,500 a year for a single child. That's less money. That's more money than they would spend if that kid went to CUNY 18 years later.
All right, so let's talk about both of those, starting with the buses. First, just the idea that you want people in a bus. That is such a socialist thing. That is such a collectivist thing. That is such a top-down, centralized planning, technocrat, academic approach. I don't want you in buses. I want to put in an economic system that makes you so prosperous and so free that you can at least afford a 20-year-old Toyota Corolla. Think of how bad the bus system is going to be if it's free. What's a homeless person's incentive to ever get off? How packed are the buses going to be? And is it going to be packed with good people or people who just want to get out of the cold or people who just want to get out of the heat or people who just want to get out of the rain? Whenever there's bad weather, all the homeless people are just going to bum rush the bus. We've done this before. And when I say we, I don't mean you and me. I'm just saying other cities have done this before. It's been tried in different countries all over the planet. This is what happens. We know. We don't have to have some fantasy. Well, we'll just make it free. It'll be fantastic. We know. But contrast that with what's going on here in Dallas. What are we doing here? We have some suburbs that are revolting against DART. They're going to kick DART out. Embrace that. That is the right thing to do. Right now, there's political action groups that are trying to save DART. They're trying to influence the 4 votes that are going to happen next year in Plano, Irving, Highland Park, and what's the other one? Farmers Branch, on whether they want to kick out DART. The same people that organized the Women's March with the pink hats, they're the ones that are pushing to save DART. This is an inherently political Team Blue program that spends billions of taxpayer dollars in services. What percentage of commuters in North Texas use DART? 0.6. 0.6%. After we've done this for 40-something years and spent billions of dollars and all this effort, move away. Do pretty much, economically speaking, do whatever the opposite of what this guy is doing. The other half of that is concerning as well. Free childcare. Free childcare. My God. So you want the government to have control of your kids in public schools from kindergarten through 12th grade, and then in the academic indoctrination institutions we call college now, until at least age 22, if not 24, if you get a higher degree, 26, 28, who knows? But now you want to turn your baby over to a government bureaucrat, a government agent, just when they're born? You want the government to raise your kids for you? I mean, you already want the government to feed your kid and house your kid and give your kid transportation and give your kid education and now give your kid daycare. It's not even your kid anymore. You're just a surrogate mother for the state. Now let's go revisit our Austrian immigrant. We'd like to bounce off of her a few times. When Hitler took over in Austria, he instituted a whole bunch of programs. Some of them were social programs.
To equalize the wealth, those who were on the lower income level, to graduate them up there to an equal level, they got subsidized housing, they got food stamps, they got heating fuel, and they got a certain amount of payment from the government for each child. So they equalized the country's wealth by taxing us 70% to bring that level, the lower income level, into an equal level, and that is called socialism.
And then later in the same interview, she specifically talked about free childcare programs, just like Mamdani proposed.
Before Hitler, of course, the moms stayed home. They were good wives, and they raised their families. But under socialism, if you are not in the workforce, you are called a parasite. So the moms were being put out into the workforce. So what happened to the children? Child care centers. You could, and it was all free for everybody. You could bring your 4-month-old baby, leave it there 24 hours, 7 days a week. As long as you left your child there, the better the government liked it.
So remember, when it comes to someone calling you a fascist or a Nazi or literally Hitler, which side supports all of their economic programs, all of their social programs, all of their view on governance, their views on education, their views on religion, their views on government raising your kids, on food stamps, public housing? I mean, who is Hitler anyway? You mean the art school dropout, the vegetarian? That guy wants to turn the whole world into Scandinavia? Not really a big fan of the Jews. 800-288-9227, 800-288-9227. On policy, if you closed your eyes and just heard their policies, could you distinguish Hitler from Mamdani? On some issues, yes. On economic issues, not really. All right, let's take a look at the headlines that are affecting your money with Kathy DeWitt from DeWitt & Dunn. You can hear on the weekends here on WBAP. Welcome back, Kathy. How's it going?
Doing great. How are you today, James?
I am doing good. I want to kick it off with the jobs report. The unemployment rate ticked up 0.1%. So now it is at, 4.4%. But the job growth came in a little bit above expectations. So overall, I think good report. Your thoughts?
Yeah, I mean, it's a great report, but just remember the report is delayed by about 7 weeks because of the government shutdown. So we'll be having another report here like towards the end of the year. But I mean, it is good. I mean, more jobs are more jobs, right?
Yeah, I guess we're going to get another one in like 2 weeks here. But I'm also keeping an eye on the labor force participation rate. It went up, so the unemployment didn't get helped out by people being kicked out of the labor force or whatnot. Actually, more people jumped into the labor force, and that seems to be where some of the unemployment increase came from. So I think that's a good sign as well.
Yeah, it's an awesome sign. However, the market really didn't take well to the news today, did it?
Well, the market has made so many records, it's kind of hard to fault it for pulling back for a day or two to take some of that back. It's kind of where I stand.
Yeah, I mean,
on
that's a great point. But I mean, still, there's a lot of concerns on the bubble and, with AI and Bitcoin's down, to low. So, we'll just see what continues to happen. But as you get, closer to retirement, you got to be a little bit more careful with your portfolio. That's for sure.
Well, what do you think about this discussion of an AI bubble? There's some good sound bites floating around from Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez saying, when the bubble pops, we're not going to bail you out or whatnot. Who says that there's a bubble?
Well, that's a great point. I mean, it just continues to ride and ride. But when we take a look at, we thought when we saw NVIDIA and their earnings, we didn't think that the market was going to, react negatively to it, but it did. But, there's still some concern with Bitcoin and, AI, but who knows? We'll see if it's a bubble or not. But there is a little bit of speculation that it is. But a lot of people have a lot of money in it. So hopefully they've got some other assets that are somewhere where they're being protected just in case, what if we're wrong and it is a bubble?
Yeah, we're talking with Kathy DeWitt from DeWitt & Dunn. I saw great news about so many investments that are moving to Texas. Google announced like $40 billion in new investments in Texas. You have Y'all Street that's being built across the street from the American Airlines Center over here. We're going to steal the NASDAQ, it looks like. I mean, they just won't admit it yet. Are we about to become the center of the universe for both the financial world and Silicon Valley?
You know what? It seems that way, right? I mean, Google's been in Austin for quite a long time. And just to see that they're coming and adding a lot more to Texas is wonderful. And Texas is a great economy. Plus, we don't have state taxes. So that's pretty awesome. So all around, I think it's great news. And the cost of living in Texas is lower. And, Abbott has also reduced, taxes for, homeowners. So there's a lot of great news here in the state of Texas.
Yeah, I like the sound of all this investment. I hear people trying to come up with reasons to gripe about it, like, oh, what's this going to do to property values? Or, this is going to strain our electrical grid or whatnot. It's like, these are good problems to have, don't you think?
Oh, I agree. I mean, let our property values continue to soar, right? We really, Texas really hasn't seen a pullback in real estate. And, I think that's great news for us.
All right, what's coming up on DeWitt and Dunn this weekend?
We're just talking about 2026. A lot of people have put off, focusing in on retirement, and, they put off planning and making sure that their allocation, their portfolio is where it should be, as we've all gotten a little bit older this year. So let's bring in the new year on a new foot and get a financial plan in place, one that we can count on. So that way, when we're talking about all the good news, we don't have to worry about the bad news because we've got a solid plan. So that's what we're focusing in on for our clients and new potential clients for 2026. Sit down with us. Let us get a plan together for you at no cost or obligation.
Well, I know anyone of any age can listen to the DeWitt and Dunn Financial Hour and get some good advice from it. But you don't need like a 20-year-old college sophomore to go out and get a financial plan or get their retirement plan set up. So there is such thing as too early. But where do you draw the line at what's too late?
Well, it's never too late. A lot of people really need a lot of help fixing what they have, and people need to generate income. So it's never too late. And also, James, it's never too early to start. My dad used to tell me the first day you go to work is the first day you need to start thinking about retirement and putting money away. So for all the young people that are out there, make sure you're contributing to your Roth IRAs and to your 401ks, getting the match, because it's never too soon to start. And it's never too late to maybe fix or to generate more income when you're in your retirement years.
All right, that's Kathy DeWitt. You can catch the DeWitt and Dunn Financial Hour weekends on WBAP, Sunday at 11 and again at 4 in the afternoon. Thank you, Kathy.
Yeah, thanks, James.
The James Show Podcast.